You ever have one of those days when your car just decides to turn against you? You start it up and bam, the dreaded check engine light pops on like it's laughing at you. Maybe the idle's rough, the throttle's lazy, or the fuel economy's gone down the drain. You start imagining the worst. Thousands of dollars in repairs, shady mechanic bills, or your car just quitting on you in the middle of traffic. But what if I told you that there's a simple $10 trick that can bring your car back to life without replacing a single part, without paying a mechanic, and without even getting your hands dirty? Sounds too good to be true? Stick around, because this might be the best kept secret your car doesn't want you to know. Here's the deal. Modern cars are basically rolling computers. Every time you start your engine, hundreds of sensors and modules talk to each other, measuring air, fuel, temperature, timing, throttle, emissions, you name it. All that data flows through one central brain called the ECU, or Engine Control Unit. Think of it as your car's personal computer. It learns your driving habits, your environment, and even how old your engine is. Sounds smart, right? But here's the problem. Like any computer, it gets confused. Over time, your ECU builds up a memory of small issues, dirty sensors, temporary misfires, or low voltage events, and starts to adapt around them. That's great in the short term, but after months or years, those bad readings pile up and your car begins to act, well, weird. The idle might bounce, throttle response might lag, your gas mileage drops, and suddenly, the car you love feels sluggish and lazy. That's when most people panic, run to a mechanic, and drop hundreds of dollars, when all it might have needed was a simple reset. And here's where the $10 trick comes in. The secret weapon? A basic OBD2 scanner, one of those little diagnostic plugs you can buy online or at any auto store for around $10. This tiny device can reset your car's brain, clear old error codes, and force the ECU to relearn everything from scratch, like hitting refresh on your laptop. It's not magic, it's science. Let's rewind for a second. Every modern vehicle built after 1996 comes with an OBD2 port, usually located under the dashboard. That's where mechanics plug in their professional scanners to read codes and diagnose issues. But here's the kicker. You don't need to be a mechanic to use it. These days, consumer-grade scanners are small, cheap, and ridiculously easy to use. You plug it in, connect it to your phone via Bluetooth or app, and with one tap, you can see exactly what's wrong with your car, or even better, erase years of junk data the ECU has stored. Now, let's address the myth first. Resetting the ECU doesn't fix real problems. Technically true, but here's what mechanics don't tell you. The ECU stores not just trouble codes, but adaptation values. These are the learned adjustments your car makes over time, like how much air to mix with fuel, or how much the throttle should open. If those adaptations are based on outdated or dirty sensor data, the ECU keeps using them even when the sensor's fine again. So resetting the ECU wipes those bad habits clean. Suddenly, your car starts fresh, relearning with accurate data and running smoother than it has in months. Think about it like this. Imagine you're typing on a computer that's been running non-stop for a year. It's laggy, overloaded with cache, background apps, and memory errors. You can keep working, but it's slow and glitchy. Now you restart it, clear the junk, and suddenly it's lightning fast again. That's exactly what an ECU reset does for your car. So how does this $10 miracle actually work? When you plug in your OBD2 scanner, it reads all the data from your car's brain, error codes, sensor values, even freeze-frame snapshots of when a problem occurred. Most people stop there, but the power move is to hit clear codes. This command tells the ECU to erase stored fault codes and adaptation data. Your dashboard lights disappear, the ECU forgets its bad habits, and when you start the engine again, it begins the learning process from zero. Within a few miles of driving, you can feel the difference. Sharper throttle, smoother idle, and sometimes even improved mileage. Now, you might be wondering, why would a simple reset fix 90% of problems? Because most problems aren't broken parts. They're confused electronics. Maybe your mass airflow sensor glitched for a split second and threw a code. Maybe your throttle body had some gunk that cleared up, but the ECU still thinks it's restricted. Maybe you replaced spark plugs or a battery, but the computer never recalibrated. All these little ghosts live in the system, and the reset wipes them out. Mechanics know this. In fact, many of them perform a reset every time they service a car, but they don't always tell you. They'll plug in the scanner, hit clear codes, and suddenly the car runs perfectly. To you, it looks like they worked magic, when in reality it took them 30 seconds. That's the beauty and the frustration of modern cars. The fix is often simple, but hidden behind technical jargon and fear of electronics. Let me tell you a quick story. A guy brought his Honda to a workshop because it was idling rough and the check engine light was on. The mechanic ran a diagnostic and saw 5 codes: oxygen sensor, misfire, throttle position, you name it. Instead of replacing parts, he simply cleared the codes and reset the ECU. The next day, the owner came back saying the car was running perfectly. No parts changed, no big repair. Just a $10 tool and some know-how. Here's another example. Ever replaced your car battery and suddenly noticed weird things like rough shifting, weird idling, or poor acceleration? That's because when the battery is disconnected, the ECU loses voltage and forgets temporary data, but not always completely. Doing a proper reset helps the ECU fully relearn the idle, transmission, and fuel maps correctly. Within a few drives, the car smooths out. Most people panic and run to the dealer, when all it needed was a clean reboot. And here's the fun part, you don't even need a fancy scanner. There's an old school manual method too. Disconnect your negative battery terminal for about 15 minutes, press the brake pedal a few times to drain leftover voltage, then reconnect. That manually forces an ECU reset. But here's why I recommend the $10 scanner. It's faster, safer, and doesn't mess with other car electronics like your radio or clock. Now, I'm not saying this reset is a cure-all. If your car has a mechanical issue like a bad coil, leaking gasket, or damaged sensor, the reset won't fix the underlying problem. But here's the thing. Most issues people face daily are not mechanical. They're electrical hiccups. And those can absolutely be fixed by refreshing the system. That's why I say this reset helps with 90% of car problems, not 100%. Let's talk about what happens after the reset. Your ECU enters what's called a relearning phase. During this time, it recalibrates everything: idle speed, throttle response, fuel trims, and sensor readings. The first few miles might feel slightly off. Maybe the idle's high or the shifting's weird, but that's normal. After a few drive cycles, it stabilizes and often feels like a brand new car. Many drivers report better gas mileage, smoother acceleration, and even a quieter engine. Mechanics often joke that ECUs are like toddlers. They throw tantrums when confused and calm down when reset. That's not far from the truth. The reset clears temporary frustration and lets the car relearn good behavior. Now let's address the skeptics who say, if it's that easy, why don't manufacturers tell us? Simple, dealerships make money on diagnostics and service visits. If every car owner knew that a basic reset could clear minor issues, fewer people would pay $120 for a computer scan. The tool costs $10, but the knowledge is priceless. And don't worry, using an OBD2 scanner won't void your warranty or damage anything. It's a standard tool designed for consumers. The only risk is clearing codes that could help diagnose a serious issue later, so always take note of what codes you clear. Most apps even save a record automatically. Let's drop a few pro tips. First, always perform the reset after any major maintenance, like spark plug changes, air filter replacement, or throttle cleaning. That way, the ECU learns based on fresh, accurate data instead of outdated numbers. Second, if your car feels rough after the reset, take it for a 10 to 15 minute mixed drive, city and highway speeds. That gives the ECU a wide range of data to adapt faster. And third, if your check engine light comes back after a reset, then you know it's a real issue worth investigating. That's how you separate ghost errors from genuine problems. Now, here's the kicker. This $10 reset doesn't just fix issues, it can prevent them. A clean ECU helps sensors work more efficiently, fuel trims stay balanced, and performance remain consistent. Think of it as giving your car a mental health day. It relaxes, resets, and gets ready to perform better. You'd be amazed how many issues vanish after a proper reset. Jerky shifting, delayed throttle, poor idle, even random warning lights. Because most of the time, these symptoms come from the computer reacting to outdated data, not a physical failure. Clear that data, and the car returns to factory-like behavior. So next time your car acts up, before panicking, before calling a mechanic, before even Googling expensive repairs, grab a $10 OBD2 scanner, plug it in, and hit that magical button. Clear codes. It might just save you hundreds of dollars and hours of stress. Now picture this. You're at a stoplight, the engine humming quietly, smooth as silk. The same car that was sputtering and jerking yesterday is suddenly calm and efficient. You smile, knowing you didn't need a mechanic, just a little knowledge and a $10 gadget. That's not just fixing your car, that's beating the system. So remember this trick. Your car doesn't always need parts. Sometimes it just needs a reset, a chance to start fresh, forget the mistakes, and learn again. Kind of like us, right? The next time that check engine light stares you down, don't let it scare you. Pull out that little scanner, clear the codes, and take your car for a spin. Because sometimes the smartest fix is the simplest one. No tools, no stress, no mechanic, just a $10 secret that your car and your wallet will thank you for.